every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. Hear that feedback? I'm not sure if I'm stop. This proclamation was signed at the Union County Courthouse this morning, March 29th, 2022, with representatives from SAFE, Vicki Franklin and Kristen Parker, and myself as commissioner. Item number 4 is a proclamation. I hereby proclaim the month of April of 2022 as Donate Life. And I was going to ask, has anyone in here been involved with a transplant or had family involved with a transplant?
Nope.
More than 106,500 men, women, and children await life-saving or life-enhancing organ transplants, with nearly 3,500 residents in Georgia. A new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 10 minutes, and an average of 20 people die daily due to the lack of available organs. Donating life through eye, organ, and tissue donation is the ultimate act of generosity and kindness we can perform. LifeLink of Georgia is a nonprofit community service organization dedicated to the recovery of high-quality organs and tissues for transplant therapy. Please join me in honoring all those who made the decision to give the gift of life, and for encouraging all residents to take action and sign up for a Georgia donor registry. Personal story. My niece, Lyric Adamson, I was going to ask her to stand. She just moved to Blairsville about 2 months ago. She had a transplant, a liver transplant, back 26 years ago, and is doing fairly remarkable for all these years, but she's on medicine all the time, and probably 3 to 4 days a week she's got a headache too severe to be able to get out. And that's unfortunately what happened tonight. I was hoping she could be here because she could get up and tell you a lot more stories about this. But anyway, I want to keep special thoughts and prayers for her and for all the others. Number 5 is an agreement. I hereby accept this agreement between Engineering LLC and Union County for engineering and site plans for fire station number 13. The cost of this agreement is not to exceed $13,000 and has an effective date of March 10th, 2022. This agreement, along with the one that follows, will be to get the site plan and the grading plan ready for fire station 13, which will be located on the Murphy Highway, north of town, just prior to the Veterans Bridge at Ivy Log Creek. It's up on the left where the new development is, and this is right, the pad that's right below there. This station will allow the ISO rating in that part of the county for a lot of homes to be reduced, which will reduce their insurance, and it will make available a location for a future ambulance base in the hospital, and also a sheriff's department base, because that's one of the most busiest parts of the county where emergency services are needed. So we're looking forward to that, and that project should start pretty soon. Is Larry in here?
It'll start this year. We just can't put the project out to bid until it's like.
What's the approximate date we're hoping it'll be ready?
Put out to bid or finished?
The meeting, the building, the whole process.
We hope it will be finished by the end of this year or first of next year.
Okay. Item 6, agreement. I hereby accept this agreement between Blue Ridge Mountain Surveying and Union County for surveying the site for Fire Station 13. The cost for this agreement is not to exceed $2,500 and has an effective date of March the 10th, 2022. Number 7 is a grant. There's several of these, and we always love to have grants and bring them forward to the public to see and understand. It's hard to understand all of them, however. I hereby accept this grant award from the state of Georgia for the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds for Union County water sewer infrastructure in the amount of $1,690,000. This grant award is effective February the 22nd. Union County applied for and received this grant on behalf of Nottla Water Authority and Coosa Water Authority. So if you belong to either one of those, you're going to be a beneficiary of this increase in their product and their safety. Union County will be acting as a fiscal agent for this grant as a requirement for these organizations to actually receive the grant. So we were glad to be able to work with both of them and for them to receive this amount of money, which is going to allow one of them to completely put in a lot of generators that they've sorely needed, and then the other one's got a lot of improvement projects in their water supply. How many people do we have out there standing? Just a couple? Okay. You wanna come on up here?
Really? You put a letter on the other side?
Got you locked in there. Item 8 is another grant award. I hereby accept this grant award from the state of Georgia for the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund for Union County broadband expansion. And listen to this number. This is for broadband expansion by way of Windstream, $11,162,000. This is a huge, huge grant, and we are very excited. I want to thank Senator Gooch and our other representative for working so hard to get this approved, and we will be the fiscal agent, so the money will be coming through the county. This grant award is effective February 22nd. Union County applied for and received the grant on behalf of Windstream. Union County will be acting as the fiscal agent for this grant as a requirement for the organization to receive the grant. Now also, we applied through the EMC. At this point in time, they have not been able to get an award on it, but they are, if you read the paper, you notice the EMC is also going out and getting ready to expand their internet service throughout the county. So we're really excited for them. And if there's any other opportunities to try to get grant funding, we're certainly going to be working with them as they'll be working in the meantime too. Stan Gunner was the other name. I don't know why I couldn't come up with it. Stan Gunner. That's who I was talking about. Captain Steve Gooch. Item 9 is a grant. I hereby accept this grant award from the American Rescue Plan funding for the Anoda Judicial Circuit in the amount of $2 million. I mean, these numbers seem incredible. Awarded by the Judicial Council of Georgia Ad Hoc Committee. This grant award is effective January the 1st of this year. Union County will be acting as the fiscal agent for this grant as a requirement for this organization to receive the grant. And this is all related to the drug program, and the drug rehab program through the court system. So we're excited for them. The only unexciting thing is for my staff, knowing that they've got to be the purveyor of all this funding and trying to keep up with it and make sure everything's done right. But we know Laura will be able to handle that. As a fiscal agent. Item 10 is the lease agreement. I hereby accept this lease agreement between Nanny B. Abercrombie and Union County for leasing of 0.53 acres, more or less, located in landlocked 303 9th District, 1st Section, Union County. The lease shall be effective from March the 1st, 2022 to February 29th, 2028. The cost for this lease will be $3,000 per year, there being no cost for the first year. $500 security deposit is also required. This property will be utilized for some potential off-site housing to assist those with needs in temporary residents related to drug issues. We appreciate the Abercrombie family working with us on this, because it was a big deal for them, part of their family heritage property, and it's in a location that we think will not be an impact to anyone and be a real asset for those in need. Item number 11 is a memorandum of understanding. I hereby accept this memorandum of understanding between Coosa Water Authority, Nottla Water Authority, and Union County government to set the terms and understanding between all three parties to confer funds from the state of Georgia for the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds for state and sewer water infrastructure. This memorandum of understanding has an effective date of March 28, 2022. It will allow the county to distribute funds for the grant on behalf of the authorities for eligible water infrastructure projects needed throughout the community. This memorandum of understanding refers back to agenda item number 7. And the following three agenda items, 12, 13, and 14, are all correlated with the previous accepted grants in the agenda items 7, 8, and 9. A separate checking account will be open for each of these grants. Item number 12, Resolution R 2022-06. I hereby approve this resolution to open a checking account at United Community Bank for grant funds received on behalf of Nottla Water Authority and Coosa Water Authority from the state of Georgia for coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds for water and sewer infrastructure. It's a mouthful, and I want to thank Jennifer Mahan, who has worked hard this week trying to get all this stuff together. And whereas it seems a little difficult to read, nothing like having to put all this together and try to make it work. Item 13 is Resolution R 2022-07. I hereby approve this resolution to open a checking account at United Community Bank for grant funds received on behalf of Windstream from the state of Georgia for coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds for broadband expansion. And so you can see there's about 3 of these items that pertain to each individual item. Item 14 is Resolution R 2022-08. I hereby approve this resolution to open a checking account at United Community Bank for grant funds received in behalf of the noted judicial circuit from the American Rescue Plan Act. Item 15, Resolution R 2022-09. I hereby approve this resolution to reappoint Rick Davenport to the Board of Directors for the Union County Development Authority for a 4-year term from December 31st to December the 30th of 2025. Item 16, Resolution R 2022-10. I hereby approve this resolution to reappoint Scott Carter to the Board of Directors for the Union County Development Authority for a 4-year term from March 5th, 2022 to March 4th, 2026. Item 17 is Resolution R 2022-11. And I hereby approve this resolution to reappoint Gene Wenham to the Board of Directors for the Union County Development Authority for a 4-year term from March 5th, 2022 to March 4th, 2026. Finally, on the terms, I hereby approve Resolution R 2022-12 to reappoint Mike Kernan to the Board of Directors for the Union County Development Authority for a 4-year term from March 5th, 2022 to March 4th, 2026. recall, last month, we were working on a comprehensive plan that several of you may have put input in. But that plan has been completed. This resolution R 2022-13 approves to adopt the 2022 comprehensive plan for Union County and the city of Blairsville. Union County has participated in the update of the plan, and the plan was prepared in accordance with the rules and procedures of the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. The update has been reviewed and approved by the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission and the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. The plan will be available on the Union County website, or you can request a copy from our office at no charge. Adoption of moratoriums. I hereby adopt an emergency moratorium on applications for development or expansion of campgrounds, mobile home parks, manufactured home parks, recreational vehicle parks, tiny home parks, park model parks, or other similar development. The county will be examining what, if any, changes need to be made to any of this class of permanent or temporary residents to promote public safety and comfort variables associated with this type of structure. With several inquiries per week regarding the development of different types of parks, we have found it necessary to reassess all sections of the ordinance and also update to include changes in the building industry which have been established. Since the ordinance was initially adopted in 2004, it shall not restrict any existing or permanent parks currently under construction or intended for use prior to this date. What we're trying to do is make sure going forward that we're covering, and we're getting in the process of getting with several other counties in the North Georgia area to look at all types of permitting for these structures and any similar structures, including at some point trying to put some regulations on VRBO. There'll be a lot that we're having to work on and do. It's going to be an extremely time-consuming issue, and as we've checked with some of the other counties that have started on this, because they had this come up sooner than we did, it's been about driving them crazy, trying to come up with the wording, and nobody seems to agree on how many houses, how many bedrooms are considered to be a reasonable amount for VRBO, how many people can park in a property, and what determines that, and who's going to enforce that. How many people are going to be in a bedroom? If it's a 5-bedroom home, is that 10 people or is that 20 people? There's just so many things that we have not had to deal with here in Union County, and it's just started to appear. And so these are all items that we're going to be taking into account, looking at, trying to determine what's the best and the fair way for everyone. Item 21, I hereby approve this amendment to the personnel policies and procedures for Union County employees. We're specifically amending the vehicle use policy under the section driver responsibilities. The policy currently states that drivers must process and maintain a valid state of Georgia or equivalent state driver's license approved for the class appropriate for the vehicle. We will be adding a section A and B in our ordinance to read as follows. A record of driver history, motor vehicle report, is required by Union County government for every new hire upon an initial offer of employment, and a record of driver history is required for each employee once per year for the duration of the employment. There is no cost to the employee. And item B, potential employees and current employees who have a driver's license issued by a state other than the state of Georgia are required to provide a current record of driver history, motor vehicle report from the issuing state's Department of Motor Vehicle or Driver Services. Cost of the record of this also will be no cost, will be reimbursable to the employee if Union County is providing a receipt for the cost of the repair.
Where's Cindy? So she's not speaking.
And only business license we currently have in Union County is for hotel motel tax purposes. I hereby approve the business license for Buying Time, that's B-U-Y-I-N-G, Buying Time LLC, located at 262 Havenwood Road. As a reminder, Union County only issues the license for the purpose I just spoke to you about. Item 23, Cindy Vanderreed, Vanderreedt, requested to be placed on the agenda to speak tonight regarding SPLOST and some questions she had early on, actually in the December meeting. Ms. Vanderreed notified us this morning that she would like to be removed from the agenda. I was going to take this time to speak regarding some questions that were proposed when she last placed it on the agenda in December. This document will be available tomorrow in our office if needed, but I am going to read it at this time. March 23rd, 2022, Cindy Vanderreed. Ms. Vanderreed, in response to questions you have posed in the December 2021 county meeting about SPLOST projects, here are our responses. Regarding the double gym Union County Sports Center project, this much needed facility was constructed with bond funds tied to the SPLOST program under the Parks and Recreation approved referendum item. This multi-use facility serves the families and the citizens of our community, and the cost for this venue was approximately $4 million at the time of construction, not $7 million as erroneously stated. It should be noted that this invaluable community asset was delivered to the citizens of Union County before all of the turmoil in the construction industry, and we're extremely fortunate that we were able to get it done prior to all of that happening. And as you know, it was not only being used for basketball, but a lot of vaccines were distributed, thousands of vaccines were distributed to Union and Towns County out of that facility. Regarding the Byron Herbert Reese property, there have been multiple projects associated with this property, which is an important part of our heritage. And I want you to listen to this because it's a little bit complicated, but also if we keep hearing people making statements that are not correct about what we've done and what we spent it, where the money came from. We know what we are doing. We have an assistant that works with us, consultant that works with us. We work through our auditors. So when you hear words about anything related to SPLOST not being done legal, not being done above board, they've had several words they've even accused me of. I can't imagine that. But I can assure you one thing, when we do it, we try to do it right. Regarding the Byron Herbert Reese property, there have been multiple projects associated with this property, which is an important part of our heritage. As with most multifaceted projects, there are multiple funding sources. With this Parks and Recreation project, local SPLOST funds were utilized as leverage to secure outside funding in the form of grants from various state agencies. The original project was the Byron Herbert Reese Welcome Center facility, which was built using grant funds back in 2009, 2010, and 2011. This facility now is called the Byron Herbert Reese Farm and Heritage Center. It also includes a beautiful pavilion that is rented almost year-round, along with a small creekside deck where small wedding ceremonies can be held. There have also been walking trails constructed using grant funds. The county has also used SPLOST funds for the Byron Herbert Reese vacation rental facilities located just south of the pavilion. These vacation rentals are run through our recreation department, just like Petite Creek Campground, offering people from outside Union County the pleasure to visit our beautiful county. This historically significant Byron Herbert Reach property has been preserved, and added amenities will provide a revenue source to assist in sustaining this historic resource for years to come. Regarding your statement about abandoned SPLOST projects, and we've heard this so much that we're pretty well sick of hearing this term, our office has communicated ad nauseum on this false accusation, and the exact same fact remains true today. There has never been an abandoned SPLOST project as defined by the governing regulations. Union County has utilized SPLOST funds on every project as defined by the voter-approved referendum language. There seems to be an appetite with certain folks to create a false narrative and project scope definitions that simply do not exist. We are extremely proud of our public stewardship, especially with our SPLOST funds, and all the great things we as a community have been able to accomplish. Union County is second to none in our natural beauty and our quality of life. Our accomplishments utilizing SPLOST dollars have been recognized by many of the state and federal levels and allow us to leverage a tremendous amount of outside funding, which is all audited on a regular basis. There is no malfeasance, such as abandoning projects in the past, present, nor will there ever be under my administration. And that's the end of my response to Ms. Van Der Reed.
Okay, I can
Because of the length of this meeting, I'm gonna try to hold comments and questions short. I'm now gonna officially adjourn the meeting, but it's public comment period, so if someone has a reasonable question, we'll be glad to listen to it. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so as you were just responding to Cindy, who wasn't here. I'm pretty loud, but this is how we do it every month. Okay, so you were saying this about as per defined for the abandoned projects, but I have all these meetings recorded, and we discussed right before T-Splost pretty thoroughly how, and it's not make-believe, nor is it an appetite for false statements.
Excuse me,
I'm not.
I've just explained to you exactly that there are no projects like you
Can
were
I
trying to say
speak?
there are, and there aren't any.
Okay.
I'll listen to you tell us that
No,
there
no,
are.
no. I haven't asked you my question yet. Is there a reason you're stopping me?
Pretty soon, or
Okay.
you won't have the opportunity.
Yes, so what I'm saying is that in the meeting for T-Splost, we talked about how you will present projects, but they don't necessarily have to be what happens. And we discussed that pretty thoroughly. So I just want to make that statement for Cindy since she's not here. But my question is, what do, just please explain, what do water infrastructure and Windstream have to do with the coronavirus for the funding? I'm just wondering.
That's the way the funding's set up by the federal government, and that's the way it came through to the county, so.
But
that's all I
do
can
you
tell
know
about it.
why coronavirus funds are going to the water infrastructure and broadband?
Talk with your federal people, that's who would be the ones that will know that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we only can take questions that's on the agenda, but I'd be happy to talk to you after the meeting.
Yeah. Correct. Yes, sir.
Item 20. The
I can't hear
moratorium.
that thing.
Does that apply to Airbnb?
It doesn't apply to Airbnb yet.
And there's no.
So we can't stop them. informational purpose somebody has, that needs to talk to us about it, we can consider other things, but at this point right now, we're looking at 6 months.
On the comprehensive plan, there is no question on the time and count. I assume there were public comments later. Are they available for people to read or summarize issues?
We can get those for you. I don't know if you have a copy of them. We can get it from the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission. They're the ones that did our study for us, so they will be able to furnish those. And if you'll talk to Jennifer, in my office, 439-6000, we'll try to talk with them and see how long it'll take them to get that information.
Very good, thank
That
you.
shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Yes, sir.
Regarding, item 8 on the agenda, the $11 million, thing we're getting to be used as part of the communication infrastructure with, Windstream.
Yes, sir.
Is there something that's already in place on how the money's gonna be used, or we haven't decided yet? My point,
That hasn't come to us yet. We will be funneling the money, but only once we've got the detailed instructions of what and how to do. We don't have any of that information yet. We just know that we've gotta get this stuff lined up and ready. And then once the funding actually comes through, there will be some strict directions on where it has to be.
okay, cause I'm sure
used
that,
for. It'll not be up to us, it will be up to Windstream.
right, but I mean, we obviously we should have a little bit of a say in how it's used. It's coming through the county, correct?
We actually don't have a say in how it's used. The grant money is just coming through us. It goes to Windstream. We just have to be the ones to actually submit the application for them. But the federal government does have a rigorous set of outline of, different items that it can be used for. And so they will have to adhere to that. So that's kind of where that is. Again, all of that has been set up by the federal government. We just had to be the ones to actually submit it because it had to come through a government entity.
Okay, 'cause my point being, personally, I'm sure there's others here, they don't live like within where their broadband is. You know, personally, I live up 515 up by, Copperhead Lodge. We have about 40 houses in our subdivision, okay? It's well laid out. I've been fighting with them for over a year now to get high-speed access up there. If you're in town and you get on one of their broadband, if you're on their broadband, you're getting up to 100 megs of speed. Where I'm at, I'm getting 5 to 10, sometimes less than that. And they keep telling me, we don't have the money to run the lines up there. However, there's one person in our subdivision who has a lot of money. He does the accounting for some, brewery where they ran one line just to this guy's house to get high-speed access.
I can assure you that we will not have any direct impact, but if there is an issue with anybody that want us to address it to Windstream, and say, hey, we've got a complaint on this particular person, then we can do that, yes, sir.
Sir, come talk to me afterwards, then we have a solution.
Thank you.
Probably too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question on your item, 10 with the lease agreement. Why is it only, $3,000 a year with no rep for the first year on this lease agreement for, Nancy V. Abercrombie?
Because we're gonna do some work, helping get the place ready. It's an old structure.
Get it ready for what?
Get it ready for what it tells in there, which is gonna be a potential living structure, part-time living structure for those with drug issues. Yes, sir.
If this can be helpful on the broadband, it's from federal funds from the CARES Act. The Federal CARES Act was passed almost about a year ago. It comes through a program called RDOF, Rural Development Opportunity Funds. And so, yes, you're correct. The state, they receives the funds, they need a conduit. It's similar to the appropriations that come out of Medicaid or foster care, which is a combination of federal funds and whatever else. To your point, it's most appropriate to
Thank you. We may need you to approach them for us sometime too.
I'd be happy to help anyway.
You know more than anybody I've talked to yet. Ready? Any other questions? Okay, this meeting's adjourned. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate everything.
Excuse me, thank you. Sir, excuse me, Commissioner. Hi, I just wanted to remind you that I'm a citizen and you work for me, so your hostility towards me is uncalled for, and I would like for you to stop.
The hostility that you're saying is you against me, not me against you.
No, you're hostile.
You started it all, and
What did I start?
It just continued to be that way.
No,
and
no,
right now,
no.
I've got a bill for
You're
what,
my- You're my
$150,000
commissioner,
or
and we're in a fiduciary.
$300,000?
Sir, do you remember when you said that my great-grandfather would be ashamed of me and that my family is ashamed of me? Do you remember that? That's ugly and malicious. I do not speak to you that way. I don't speak to you that way ever.
Your
Nobody
attitude
does.
has started all of this.
What
You're the only
attitude?
person that I've been here in 20 years that I've had to deal with like I am with you. And it's
What have I
because of
done?
your attitude, and we don't have
Okay,
to talk about what
explain
you've
to
done.
me my attitude, because
No.
I've been polite towards you. Well, I'm asking you from now on, do not speak to me that way again.
Well, then don't speak to me.
I don't
that
speak
way.
to you
You
disrespectfully
got a question,
ever.
you got a comment, ask it.
That's what I
That's what
did.
you can do.
That's what I did. Whoa. Where did my stuff?